Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and 2023 is about to come to a close, which means it's time once again to recap my list for what I believe are the top 10 best films of 2023. 2023 was definitely an interesting year for the film industry. We saw many changes throughout inside and outside of it, with how audiences rejected many of the big blockbusters hitting theaters this year and instead went for some of the more smaller original stuff. And inside the film industry, we saw how the writers and actors were able to make such big life-changing changes that could benefit their colleagues and future writers and actors for quite some time as a result of the writers and actors strikes that took place this year. And as for me, I thought this was definitely an interesting year, as many of the films I was really looking forward to and excited about largely disappointed me or just failed to meet my expectations a little bit, and the ones that I didn't really think much about or had very high expectations for actually surprised me and caught me off guard. Definitely an interesting year for film. Now, obviously, before I get started, I should address that obviously I did not see every single movie that came out this year, so potentially that is one of the reasons why a movie you may like is not on this list. I just haven't seen it and maybe will in the future. But the other reason that a movie you like may not be on this list is that we have different opinions, and that's totally fine. These are just movies. As long as you respect mine, I will respect yours. Please just be respectful. This is my list. We don't have to agree on the same movies. You can like something I don't like, and I can like something you don't like. And now with those out of the way, let's get this started with my honorable mentions. Oppenheimer, No Hard Feelings, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and Strays. Yep. And without further ado, let's count down the top 10 best films of 2023. Number 10. Boy, isn't this going to be a controversial pick, but hey, you know what? It's my list, my rules, so... My number 10 is Trolls Band Together. Yes, folks, I liked it that much. Now, believe me, folks, I am as shocked as you are, because I am one of the people who does not like the first Trolls movie. I think it's a mediocre, by-the-numbers kids movie, certainly one of the weaker DreamWorks films in my opinion. So come to my surprise to realize with each new iteration of this franchise, whether it be the holiday specials or even the new movies, each one is better than the last in my opinion, including this one, as this is my favorite movie in the trilogy, for good reason. As a story, it works as not only a sequel, even in some cases much better than the second one to the first one, and the way it pokes fun at boy bands. The jokes are funnier, the characters are a lot more fun to watch here, the animation is as creative and imaginative as always, and the musical numbers are outstanding. Truly one of, if not the biggest surprise of the year for me. I had a way better time with this movie than I was expecting it to be, again, considering how much I don't like the first one, and yet here we are with the third film being not only my favorite in the trilogy, but also me liking it enough to put it in the top 10 list. Again, I am as surprised as you are. Number 9. Number 9 is Nimona. After production stopped for the film after the unfortunate closure of Blue Sky Studios back in early 2021, it was such a miracle and a blessing that Annapurna Studios and Netflix were able to revive this project so that it could see the light of day. As having seen the film, it was absolutely worthy of being released to the public, because it is such a charming, wonderful film with a great story about accepting others who are different from you, gorgeously stylized animation, hilarious jokes, a cast of fun, likable, even at times strange characters, and above all else, a fun, exciting action-adventure film it truly was one of the best animated films of the year, and once again, a miracle that this was able to see the light of day after the unfortunate cancellation it suffered. And because of how successful this movie was critically and on Netflix, Annapurna has stated that they will be looking into making more animated films in the future, including some made by the same crew that did this movie, and I am so on board for that. If those movies are on par or even better than this one, that can only mean good things. While I didn't love this as much as everyone else seems to do, I am super glad and completely understand why the film has such a big cult following like it does on the internet right now, as it was truly deserving of it and is all around a swell, fantastic movie. Number 8. Number 8 for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. As a big Ninja Turtles fan, I was so happy to see a great animated Ninja Turtles movie released into theaters, as it really worried me that in this day and age, the only modern iteration of a movie based off of the Ninja Turtles would be the Michael Bay ones, and the less said about those movies, the better. But thankfully, we were able to get this one too, as this was a fun, entertaining action movie, and easily, in my opinion, the best Ninja Turtles movie. There's just so much to love here. The gorgeously stylized animation with a pretty messy but interestingly designed looking animation style that doesn't look too unappealing or disgusting. The characters are all very likable, especially the Ninja Turtles themselves, with their teenage emphasis at full swing here. The other cast of characters are just as likable and weird as them, but the Ninja Turtles themselves truly steal the show with their great interactions and chemistry with one another. The action is great. The humor is hilarious. Another solid movie about accepting those who are different from you. And just like I said, a very solid Ninja Turtles movie. Due to the high acclaim this movie got, even though it wasn't as successful as I think they were hoping for it to be at the box office, this is going to continue into a franchise, thankfully, with a new film on the way and even a new TV show, which I'm once again all down for, as this is easily the best Ninja Turtles movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing even more from these characters and more from this world and what they can do with that. So yeah, very solid, very happy Ninja Turtles fan here who really dug this new Ninja Turtles movie. Number 7. Number 7 is Elemental. After months and months of constant criticism and constant backlash over this one Pixar movie, as many people felt it was the end of Pixar. Pixar is on the decline, yada, yada, yada. While some of it was warranted, a lot of it felt very forced and even overblown and excessive at points. So it was such a relief to see this movie get the recognition it deserved, because this was definitely way better than I think a lot of people initially thought it would. At its core, it's just a simple, sweet, solid rom-com, and I think it excels at that. The chemistry between the two leads is superb and just sweet. You just love seeing Ember and Wade fall in love with each other. The world is imaginative and creative. The animation is, as typical with any Pixar movie, excellent, especially with the characters, as they were pretty much mostly made through visual effects, so I can't even imagine the process of working with the characters here. The message about interracial relationships and immigration was done very well here, and as its core, it's just a sweet little comfort movie. It makes you feel cozy and warm inside. I can see this being a movie I rewatch time and time again, which I have, as this is the movie I rewatched the most this year, twice being in theaters, surprisingly. So yeah, if you weren't on the fence about this movie initially, I'd say go check it out. It is definitely a lot better than the trailers and advertising led you to believe. Easily one of the biggest surprises of the year. Number 6. Number 6 is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Many of you are probably looking at this and scratching your head going, they made a movie based off of that book? Or you're going, oh yeah, they made a movie based off of that book, because it absolutely hurt my heart to see this movie getting overshadowed by a lot of other movies and unfortunately be a box office disappointment. It hasn't really gotten that much acclaim or found that big of an audience this year, unfortunately, which sucks because this is a really solid, really charming coming of age teen movie. There's not a lot to it. It's very low stakes. It's just about a girl going through that point in her life where she's going through changes and also dealing with her religion, and I think the movie excels at that. Abby Ryder Foster, who you may know as the original actress who played Cassie in the Ant-Man movies, excels in here. She has a bright future ahead of herself, as well as a lot of the other cast like Rachel McAdams and Kathy Bates. It's funny, it's sweet, and the way it talks about how religion identifies with you and shapes you to the person to be was really well done. And overall, this was just a sweet, solid little, once again, coming of age movie that I wish got much more recognition. So please go check this out if you're into these types of movies, or if you just want to see something short, sweet, and really enjoyable. I'd say go check it out. Easily the most underrated movie of the year, and I hope in the future it is able to get some sort of cult following or big fan base that recognizes its achievements. Number 5. At number 5, I have Bottoms. In a solid year for the R-rated comedy, stuff like No Hard Feelings and Strays, and even other movies like Cocaine Bear and Anyone But You, this easily took the cake as the best R-rated comedy of the year. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This movie is just hilarious. I laughed out loud and hard so much throughout this movie. Every single joke, to a certain degree, worked for me, whether it just be the randomness and absurdity of the situations, to how Rachel Snow and Ayo Edebiri play off of each other, to even the things going on in the background, like little details and stuff like that, really worked for me and was just absolutely hilarious to see. The characters were all likable and charming. The story ridiculous but works to an absolutely insane degree, and top it off with a climax that, while not as insane as I thought it would be, was still pretty crazy and out there, and ends with one hell of a climax, if you ask me. Once again, easily the funniest R-rated comedy of the year. If you're in need of a good laugh, go check this out. Number 4. Number 4 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Out of all the big summer blockbusters that unfortunately either underperformed or flopped, this was the one that hurt to see the most for me, as unlike stuff like Indiana Jones 5 or The Flash or The Haunted Mansion, this was an actually solid, fun action movie. While it didn't reach the heights of Fallout for me, this was still another solid addition into the Mission Impossible franchise. The action was spectacular, with so many of the death-defying stunts Tom Cruise did were out of this world, mind-blowing. The characters are just as charming and likable and enjoyable as always. The acting is also on point here as well, and with a very engaging, interesting story about the threats of AI, so much so that it even convinced our current president to be concerned about this technology. That really works, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this story continues into part 2, even though it's not going to be called part 2 anymore. But regardless, I cannot wait to see where the story unfolds, as that climax was some of the most insane, ridiculous, and fun action sequences I've seen all year. Once again, this movie definitely underperformed this year due to a lot of the competition and just being way too expensive. So if you have the time and you like these Mission Impossible movies, or you want to see a great action movie, definitely check this one out. Number 3. At number 3, I have Barbie. Hey, that rhymed. Anyway, Barbie is, if you are living under a rock, the biggest movie of the year for all good reasons. Everything you have heard about this movie and how excellent and spectacular it is is true. Bottoms may be the funniest R-rated comedy of the year for me, but Barbie was the funniest movie. It is just so funny. Again, from the ridiculous situations the characters get into, to the ridiculous lines some of the characters get into, to the entire character of Ken, played by Ryan Gosling. This movie is a comedic riot. I laughed out loud several times throughout this movie, but it was also able to take something as simple as the Barbie doll and actually make it about something. Some people had issues with the message being a bit heavy-handed, and me personally, I didn't feel that way. I felt they handled it just the right amount, and it really excelled in the emotional beats, as this is one of the few films that actually got me to tear up at the end. Actually, it delivered on all aspects and was one of the few films this year that not only met my high expectations, it exceeded them. I loved Barbie. I was so happy that it was able to become the biggest movie of the year because, like I said, for all those great reasons, it deserves it. So yeah, if you're one of the 12 people on this planet who hasn't seen Barbie and wants to hear what the hype and buzz is all about, please do. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. 2023 will go down in history as the year Marvel lost its way, with several disappointing outputs this year, such as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Secret Invasion, and the Marvels failing to meet critical and financial expectations. However, there was one light at the end of this unfortunate tunnel, and that was this movie, and for all good reason. It showed audiences that the MCU could still make fantastic, solid movies worth going to the theater. The comedy was actually funny, the action scenes were actually well done, the characters were very likable, the story was engaging, and the emotional beats hit. As like Barbie, this is one of the few films this year that got me to tear up near the end of it all. And on top of that, it was a satisfying conclusion to this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The way it was able to end this trilogy of films in this giant saga of never-ending movies, it was a breath of fresh air to see, and a really emotional and satisfying conclusion, if you ask me. I don't know what's gonna lie in store in the future for these characters, but by gone it, this movie really satisfied with me, and I'd be more than happy if things just ended here. But if they have more plans for these characters, I'm interested in seeing what they do with them, and hopefully they do it in the right way and not the wrong way. As a send-off to these characters, this movie delivered, and as a send-off to James Gunn, this movie absolutely crushed it. I look forward to seeing what he has in store for DC, because if this movie, The Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker are any indication of his quality in comic book stuff, I think DC is in good hands. So yes, if you want to see another solid Marvel movie in this day and age, then please, by all means, go check this out. This was one of the few movies and shows this year, well, movies that actually delivered on unsatisfying me. But despite all of these great movies listed here already, there can only be one movie labeled as the best and my favorite film of 2023. And that film is number 1. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. While Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 showed how great MCU films can be, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse show how great not only animated films can be, how good comic book movies can be, how good superhero movies can be, but how great a movie can be all in one. It has everything you are looking for in an outstanding feature film. It has gorgeous, outstanding animation, lovable, well-defined characters, an engaging story, hilarious jokes, great action, strong emotional beats, and above all else, in a film industry where it's mostly dominated by franchises and sequels, and we're all probably getting sick and tired of those at this point, this was one of the few films this year, or films ever, I might add, where once the movie ended, I went, wow, I can't wait for the next one. I also hope that in the next one that the animators treated better, because apparently they were very poorly treated during the making of this film, which is rather unfortunately. So hopefully in the sequel they are treated better, and those who unfortunately had to quit due to the poor management find better successful avenues for their animation careers in the future, because even though I know it was really hard to make this movie due to the poor management skills. I just want to let those animators know that your work did not go to waste. You are all very talented individuals who were able to make some of the most gorgeous looking sequences in any animated film or just movie in general. And once again, I hope you find successful careers and avenues in the future, and hopefully you find work where you are much better treated and viewed much more valued as a person. But yeah, in regards to the movie overall, nothing was able to top this movie. The bar was set very high for this film, and nothing really came close, not even my number 2 film in my opinion. So yes, with all those things mentioned and more, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the number 1 best film of the year for me. And that's my list for the top 10 best films of 2023. Like I said earlier, 2023 was certainly an interesting year in regards to the film industry, the box office, and certainly my expectations. But I'm happy that we got to see a lot of great movies that certainly surpassed my expectations at the very least. And I hope that continues into the new year. Love seeing some new surprises. So hopefully we get some more of that. Once again, thank you guys for watching my videos for the past year right now. It truly means a lot to me that all of you have been watching my videos. I don't know where I would be without you. I'm truly grateful that you all have subscribed and continue to watch my videos. So what are your picks for the top 10 best films of the year? Do you agree with some of my picks? Do you disagree? What are some movies you're looking forward to in 2024? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, have a safe and happy new year, and stay sharp.
Started out on a one-way train. Always knew where I was gonna go next. Didn't know until I saw your face. I was missing out on every moment. You'll be one and baby, I'll be two. Would you mind it if I said I'm into you?